This is where it all begins, guys. Welcome back to another NSP's NFL rankings. This is the beginning. So, right before week one, we're going to rank every single team. Um, I know that I promised the guys that I would only do the top 10 teams, but I'm just going to be doing a little bit of a impromptu paragraph for each team. So obviously, this is how we are going to rank each team. It is in the beginning of the season, so this might not apply to how they've done this season, but how we think they'll actually do going into week one. So here we go. So at number one, this is no surprise to everybody. I'm going to have the Philadelphia Eagles here. They are the reigning champs. They didn't lose much on the offensive or defensive side. They are still one of one. So at this point in time, they've added depth to the defense, to the offense. They are the reigning supreme champs at this time until they aren't. But who in the NFL is going to rise to the occasion and knock them off of their high horse? I don't know if I see anybody right now to do it. They are going against the Cowboys in week one. So this one should be interesting. And I'm really excited for this Thursday. It's the start of the NFL season and the start of the Cowboys losing. Going on to the second team on this list, I'm going to have the Ravens. I think that they did pretty well in this offseason. They added some depth there to the defensive side, adding Jair Alexander from the Packers, an additional Alabama safety in Malachi Starks. They still have the trio there. We'll just see who it's going to be, whether it's Lamar Jackson, King Henry, and either Zay Flowers or Mark Andrews. We'll see who gets the most touches there. But I think that this team is still virtually unchanged. They have about the same chance to make it to the Super Bowl, same chance to make it to the playoffs. I think right now they can get it done in week one. They will be facing the Buffalo Bills here coming into Sunday Night Football. But obviously, the Bills could have their number since it is a home game for them. But at this time, I just think this team is better going into the season. It might change after week one depending on what we see, but I still think that this team has the better roster. I still think that this team has the better defense, and they should end up winning this game. That's who I'm choosing at least. So early spoiler there for the Pick'ems. But the Ravens, I think, should be a great team this year. We'll see what happens. Obviously, at number three, I have the Buffalo Bills. Why not have them back to back? So we already know that the Buffalo Bills are playing the Ravens at home. They've added some pieces. Joey Bosa, stellar duo still is Josh Allen and Cooks. So James Cook, is he going to be cooking? Who knows? But can they remain a threat behind the lack of attention to the wide receivers? They've added Joshua Palmer. I don't think he's the guy to do it as the wide receiver 3, but I could be totally wrong. He did some good work there with the Los Angeles Chargers, but the defense is really what's going to have to be stellar here to give Josh Allen the opportunities to shine. We all know Josh Allen can do it. We all know James Cook can do it, but is that the icing on the cake? Is this what's going to get them to a Super Bowl? I don't know. But as of right now, I still think they are one of the top teams in the NFL, and they will continue to do that under Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. A lot of rivalries here in week one. Obviously, we are going to have the Lions here at number 4. They've added quite a bit, but mostly they're just healthy now. So obviously, Isaac Tesla is their third option at this point in time. No suspensions on the offensive side so far. Still have Gibbs, still have Montgomery. Should be a healthy dosage of runs and play action pass. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think if anything, if this team can stay healthy, they should be at the top of the leaderboards after a couple of weeks. Just right now, I have them at number 4 just because they still have some injuries from this preseason, and I'm hoping they just get better there. So the defense will definitely be not as good as the offense right now, but obviously we know defense wins championships, and Aiden Hutchinson is back. So they will be playing the Packers this week, and it should be a really, really good one, in my opinion. So can the Lions stay atop the division here, or are the Packers, who are at their heels, coming up too fast? At number 5 here, I have the Green Bay Packers. Just like I said, they're nipping at the Lions' heels at this point in time, and they are golden. And they finally have a new wide receiver one, and that is Matthew Golden, the Texas Longhorn rookie. Should be getting a heavy dosage of targets this week against this tough Detroit defense, even though they are down a few guys. But now, adding to the roster a late season trade or a late preseason trade, Micah Parsons, even though it's a death tax to the Green Bay Packers at $47 million, as well as paying portions of the dead cap from Kenny Clark, who they shipped off to the Dallas Cowboys. I think this team can find a rhythm. I think finally they could be atop the NFC North, but they have to run through the Detroit Lions. Do I think they can do it? If they have primetime love to do so. It's only going to be up to him. I think the defense is stout and ready to go. I think Josh Jacobs is ready for another stellar season if he can stay healthy. And Matthew Golden, along with Love and Kraft, I think they have the squad to do it. So hopefully everybody else can pick up the slack there on the offensive line, as well as those other wide receivers that we have not listed. But this team is primed and ready for another run. I think they can get there, and I think this season will probably be a better one than last year. Next, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, they have slid into my top 10, and the only thing holding them back at this point in time is the suspension to Rashee Rice. I mean, 6 games is quite a long time. Definitely a good amount of time to get behind the sticks. I don't think that this week it's going to be an easy one against the Los Angeles Chargers, but it's not at home for both of these teams. So this one is going to be in Brazil, I believe. So quote me if I'm wrong there, but it should be a great game out of state on Friday at 7. Should be fun. I definitely think that I'm going to enjoy this one, whether it's a good game or not. There's going to be a great halftime show. But back to the Chiefs. I mean, how many more years do they have, guys? It's Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and now a squadron of guys like Worthy, Rashee Rice, and a couple of other no names that come into the flip. But this could be Kelsey's last year. Is this the last time that they could end up going deep in the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl? Or is this the end? Who knows? I'm sure we haven't seen the last of primetime Mahomes, but have we seen the last of primetime Kelsey? And I think that's the icing on the cake here. At 7 here, I have the Commanders. They have more weapons for Jaden Daniels, Deebo Samuels. Zach Ertz is still there. Terry McLaurin finally submits and has his contract that he wants. Obviously, they've added a few guys here on the defensive side. Von Miller to boast the D-rush. Added Marshawn Lattimore at the cornerback position. I think that was one of the best signings they could have done just to kind of prop up their defense again. And it seems like the Commanders are ready to take command. But does Jaden Daniels have it in him to keep the streak going, make sure he does not get that sophomore slump? I think he can. They made a deep run last year, and I think they are primed and ready to do so this year as well. For number 8, the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, stellar offense, as we know, with Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Used to also be Joe Mixon, but not anymore. Now they have Chase Brown, the new and improved running back there, running behind who knows on the offensive line. Obviously, the offensive line was not the main area to improve on. They got to get Trey Hendrickson back and a couple of other guys, just like Higgins, the right Higgins. I think this was a good call for them to kind of franchise tag him, hopefully give it one more shot with a stellar offense, and maybe be able to sign him to a long-term deal. We'll have to wait and see. This defense is still looking like it needs improvements everywhere besides where Trey Hendrickson plays. But we'll see what this new draft class that they got. Shamar Stewart is there. So maybe he'll help out after getting his contract done. Again, a lot of drama, but I do think coming into the season, the Bengals are ready to make some noise, and hopefully this is the year to do it. At number 9, I have the Buccaneers. Obviously, this team is always under the radar. They're always an underdog, but somehow they just do well ever since they've gotten Baker Mayfield. So it looks like they are going to miss Godwin for some time, but they have Emeka Egbuka coming in, and he brings just as much juice as Godwin did when he was healthy. So the defense still looks good up front, although it is aging. I think there could be some shakeups here and there with some injuries, but I think once Godwin returns, if they still have the trio of Emeka Egbuka, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin at the helm, I do think Baker Mayfield's world will be a whole lot better. We can't forget about Kate Otten at the tight end position, who is very sneaky and there when it counts. Obviously, the running back situation. I mean, this could be the year for Bucky Irving. I mean, in my opinion, he could be a top 5 running back, but he could also fall out of the top 10, just depending on how this defense holds up. Because if the Buccaneers need to score quickly, it does not look like it's going to run through Bucky Irving unless it's some dink down passes every now and then. But I still think this offense is one of the best out there, and they can run with any team, especially against some stellar defenses. So they have so many options, and once they're completely healthy, I think the Buccaneers would be a real problem, especially going into those later weeks towards playoff time. At number 10, I hate to do it, but I have the Los Angeles Rams here. In addition to, drafting a couple more guys on the D line, Matthew Stafford looks to be healthy for now. We'll see what happens there. Devontae Adams was added to the high-octane offense that this team has. They are great with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, maybe Blake Corum. I don't know. We have to see how long 4 seconds is to him, because he obviously does not know which the difference between 10 seconds and 4 seconds. But this is the team to beat in the NFC West as of now. The 49ers and the Seahawks, in my opinion, are right at their heels, just like the Packers are with the Lions. I do think there is some ground to gain there in this battle zone, and the Rams, if they allow one of us to do it, I think it'll be pretty tough for 2 teams this year to get into the NFC side for the playoffs. So whoever wins the division, we know they're in, but can a second team get there? It's between the 49ers, Rams, and Seahawks to shake that out, because I don't think the Arizona Cardinals will be a factor this year. So that is the top 10. What I'm going to do here, guys, is new. I'm going to have a slideshow here of every single team from 11 all the way to 32. So enjoy the ride. I will be posting down in the comments everything I'm saying here while the team pops up. But I hope you guys love my voice, because I will be reading some statements here to begin the season. So at number 11, I have the Denver Broncos. The opportunity to have a top 3 defense this year with addition to J.D. Barron, Dre Greenlaw, and Talanoa Hufanga. Sneaky offense, but can they string together wins with the second-year man in Bo Nix? I think so, as they hover right outside the top 10. But don't sleep on this team. I do think they will be there in the playoffs this year. At number 12, the 49ers. San Fran. Just like the Broncos, the defense is still holding with new players on the rise, like third-year D. Winters at the linebacker position, Michael Williams, the rookie, at the defensive end position, and third-year Jair Brown to replace some departures, sadly, on this defensive side. Not for the Seahawks, at least, but for the 49ers, yes. 49ers have something to prove to be on top of the NFC again, and a new wide receiver trio that is banged up, to say the least. Bang Bang Niner Gang. Offense will rely on CMC and Kittle a lot, with Purdy to lead them. At number 13, the Atlanta Falcons. Finally, the D-line is getting a new look with young and old in the mix. This team was horrendous with pass rush and seems to never have gotten it under control with Captain Kirk. Now with the young Penix in the mix, can this offense perform at high levels like the end of the season showed last year? Bijan will keep them flying, but can the defense keep them away from burning in the sun? At 14, my Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks seem to be doubted again by almost every analyst in the NFL, with few really seeing the potential of this young and upcoming defense and offense. New O-line vibes stacked at the deep D-line and new offensive weapons. Out with the drama and on with business, McDonald's seems to have the blueprints, and so far the revamp may earn quick dividends. At number 15, the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy. Is he the missing piece to the puzzle? Out with Darnold and in with the young hopeful, this team has some new depth additions such as Jordan Mason, an older Adam Thielen, and Javon Hargrave. This defense was highly underrated last year, but they may give JJ enough opportunities to get the ship steered to Valhalla. Let's see what the Vikings can muster. At 16, the Texans. Joe Mixon might never play in 2025, but is that a stretch or a real possibility? This team has some question marks, and it's not Woody Marks. With the addition of CJ Gardner-Johnson, this defense behind DeMeco Ryans will hold against any of the great teams. It's just up to the lack of help on the O-line and the new wide receiver trio in Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, and Christian Kirk. Can this team get it together? Let's see. At number 17, the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, last year was not what everybody thought. Or was it? Amarian Hampton may be the newest of running backs to step into the high-ranking running back scene. But the Chargers still need help on both sides of the ball, and maybe this year will be better than last. What do you think? At number 18, new offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. Sorry, head coach now. Will this team have a new direction? The O-line is improved. The D-line is improved. But can the Bears' curse be broken? Do the Packers walk in there and call Soldier Field home? Williams may be the only man holding this team back. And I don't know. Maybe he isn't. At number 19, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers. Anti-Rodgers or Hero Rodgers? He and only he will be responsible for how this team does this year. Did the Steelers make the right moves? Or will this be another year they just scrape by? Aaron Rodgers to DK Metcalf could be the move, but it also could be just more drama. At number 20, America's team itself, the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry frickin' Jones knows how to make a headline. That's a fact. Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Was it enough? Obviously, Michael Parsons and his departure makes this team a different team. The influx of defensive players need to come fast because the offense may have to be the savior this year, and they have their own holes to fill. Maybe an ugly one to watch, but obviously America will be watching. At 21, the New England Patriots. Always room for improvement, but did the Patriots choose the right young core in this draft? Running back, wide receiver, and left tackle were the top areas of improvement, and they got them all. Can they piece it together? This team may be better than 21, but how much can they improve? At 22, the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are the fastest thing in the sea, right? Maybe. But one wrong turn and Mother Nature has a different plan. This team has gone through drama and scrutiny, just to say the least. Can this team get past this, or is this time to sell your stars before they kill your franchise? At 23, the Jacksonville Jaguars. New and improved, they say, or just some Band-Aids. The new young GM, James Gladstone, promised a new direction, and the Jaguars got it. They got their unicorn, Travis Hunter. He is a starting wide receiver, but a backup cornerback now? Hopefully, he was worth the reach. At 24, the Arizona Cardinals. In my opinion, this team is overhyped with no real improvements to show for. Defense and offensive line are hand-me-downs, and their roster is boring and unattractive, just like their new jerseys for rivals. Sand? Really? This team has a lot to prove before they can be in the conversation for the NFC West, if they can call it a takeover. At 25, the Las Vegas Raiders. Last year's laughingstock and this year's highest Las Vegas value on return. Can the virtually new team with Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, Ashton Gianti, and Pete Carroll get this team to a winning franchise? Looks more of a 2-year project to me, but I could definitely be surprised. At 26, the Carolina Panthers. I really do believe in this team, and they are only a bottom 10 team because they are unproven to win it when it counts. One of the youngest cores in the NFL, and they could very well be on the rise. I can finally say I'm excited to watch a Panthers game this year. At 27, the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward, I hope this league treats you well, and I hope your work ethic never changes. But I do hope it changes this team and organization. We need more men like you in this league, and I can't wait to see your development. That said, the Titans need more work, but this may be the cornerstone they've been waiting for. At 28, the New York Giants. Danger Russ and aura is what this team may just be, but maybe not on the field. Malik Neighbors will shine, but I can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. They continue to pay subpar wide receivers, and the defense can't score all the points. This team needs a new offensive overhaul, and maybe Jackson Dart is the start. At 29, the Indianapolis Colts. Richardson or Daniel Jones? Can I get Aaron Rodgers, please? Oh, my. These two are the thinnest magic curtain you can pull over a dying act. And forgive me for this, but the Colts are still in mourning from Jim Israel's tragic passing, and that is why I'll give them a pass. But this team needs to find a direction, and it needs to find it fast. At number 30, the New York Jets. Another quarterback in New York. Nothing new. Justin Fields will be either a savior or another failed marriage with the Jets. I hate to say it, but I will only be watching these games to check up on one of my favorite quarterbacks from Ohio State. Jets need autopilot straight to Talent Town because they're going to need a lot of it. At 31, I have the Cleveland Browns. Another year for Cleveland without hope. At first, Sanders looked like something of a dream come true. But now in the realization, it was just a fever dream. The Browns will not be in the Super Bowl this year, and that is the most factual statement in this universe and every other one there is. Last but not least, at 32, the New Orleans Saints. If this was the way to get out of the horrendous cap travesty, then so be it. I'm not excited to watch the last years of Alvin Kamara this way, but I love that he's so faithful. And to this franchise, I really hope you guys make it out of this hole. But right now, rest in peace, and let's get on to next year, please. I hope you loved this new route we're going with this. Obviously, I will only be later on reporting on the top 10 teams and listing out every single team after that with a little bit of a snippet in the comments. So make sure you go down to the comments and see what I really have to think about each team. Again, I read everything from 11 to 32, but in the next videos, I will not be reading those off. So they will be in the comments. So make sure you stick with this new segment. Obviously, this is year 2 for NSP's NFL rankings, but we're just going to twist it up a little bit, make these videos shorter, a little bit more enjoyable to watch. And if you really want me to go back to the way I used to do it, put it down in the comments and I'll be more than glad to do so. But for now, that will be it, guys. I hope you loved it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as we always say, keep on grinding.